Hello, and thanks for joining me today. My name is Susan from Unity Fitness and Yoga. For today's practice, please go ahead and grab yourself a couple of blocks. We'll be using those later on in our practice. And go ahead and take a comfortable seat. This is how we'll start today. Feel free to pop yourself up on a blanket or something if you prefer to sit. We will do a short pranayama practice as part of our opening today before we get moving. And as you settle yourself in and sit tall, let's begin with a mudra today. For TV mudra, in fact, taking the tip of the thumb and tip of the ring fingers together, pressing those together, and you can either have palms down or go palms up. I'm going to go palms up today. Prithvi mudra is a grounding mudra, helps to release the low back. But as you've taken the mudra and you're sitting tall, if it's comfortable, let your eyes softly close. Just taking a really brief moment to tune in, scanning yourself head to toe, just noticing where you are, what's your starting point today. What is it that you are carrying with you to your practice this morning or this afternoon or this evening, whenever it is that you're joining me? The pranayama we'll practice today is three-part breath. So as you start to settle in now, begin to inhale in three parts. So you inhale first into the low belly, expand the breath a little bit more, feel the ribs expand, and then the third part is filling the lungs. And then as you exhale, release the breath from top to bottom. So chest, ribs, and then belly. And then inhale again, low belly, ribs, and chest. And then exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. Just continue on your own, inhaling from bottom to top and exhaling from top to bottom. And as you breathe, I'll be sharing a quote by Lao Tzu, which will pretty much set the tone for our practice today. Watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. This quote by Lao Tzu epitomizes why observing our thoughts is so important. A shorthand version of that quote is, watch your thoughts, they become your destiny. Your thoughts become who you are. By changing our thoughts, by interrupting those patterns, you can change your world. Let's take two more breaths here. Inhaling still bottom to top and exhaling from top to bottom. Right, you can release the mudra, allow your eyes to blink open. And let's take our first posture. We'll take balasana, or child's pose. Come off of your seat. Remove any props that you might have been using. Set them off to the side. Just sink your hips back towards your heels. Bringing the forehead down toward the floor. So feel free to stack the hands, make fists like a little fist tower if the forehead seems far away from the floor. Just pause here. I change my thoughts. I change my world. We all have the power to shift our perception. We can be whatever it is that we choose to be. We could be happier if we choose to be. As we move through our practice today, continue to watch your thoughts. Is watching the thoughts as they come in, doing our best not to allow ourselves to go off on a tangent with them, but just observing them, observing any patterns. And then within that, if you wish, set an intention. Let that intention guide you, ground you, give you purpose. Let that intention be the tool to train your mind. Watch your thoughts. They become your destiny. Staying in child's pose, let's extend the two arms forward. So we are in extended child's pose. And now take the upper body and both arms, walk them out to the left. So we're stretching now the right side body. Right hip might sink a little bit farther out to the right. Take a couple of nice deep breaths here into the right side waist, to the hip. Breathe into it, make space. Inhale your hands back to neutral, and then take the two arms and the upper body and walk over to your right. Now stretching the left. The left hip sinks out to the left. Inhale, bring your arms back to center. Now, once more, staying in Balasana and child's pose, we'll take a twist. Take your right arm, thread your right arm underneath your left, out to the left with the palm up, lowering right shoulder toward the floor. I like to keep the left arm extended, which you can do here, or feel free to bring that left arm and take a half bind, looping it around the back. As you watch your thoughts during your practice today, just keep in the back of your mind that we are often our own worst critic, right? So let's do our best today to keep the flow of thoughts positive. Notice when self-criticism comes up and try to rewrite that script. Rewrite those thoughts. Let's release this twist. Right arm will thread back forward. Take the left arm, thread it underneath the right, turning the palm up, lowering left shoulder toward the earth.
couple breaths here. Our practice today is going to be gentle. We are going to be doing some movements and some standing work, but no over efforting today. Just nice, easy, gentle, mindful movements. And let's unthread. 2 arms reaching forward. And on inhale, bring yourself up onto all fours. And then we'll take downward facing dog. Curl the toes under, hips up and back. If downward facing dog is not in your practice today, then you may stay here on your toes and come to puppy dog pose, just extending the arms forward. The upper body looks the same as down dog. We just stay on the knees. If you're with me today, I'm taking downward dog, hips up and back. We'll stay here for a few breaths. Just allowing yourself the opportunity to settle in. The hips are lengthening high. Heels are reaching toward the earth. Soft bend in the knees. Feel free to pedal the knees a little bit back and forth. Just slowly opening up into the body. Good. One more inhale here. And then on exhale, forward and down with the knees, returning to all fours. From all fours, take your right foot, step your right foot forward. So we'll be in a low lunge. Most postures today will hold for about 5 breaths. Now I'm going to grab my blocks for this. So as the right knee is forward, position yourself with that foot forward enough that when you drop the hips forward, we're starting to feel some kind of stretch across the front of the left hip. If the ground feels far away, great use of those blocks is to place them right here on either side of the front foot. And we're going to get grounded through the legs. So you're going to press the right foot down. You'll press the left shin down. And then can you find a scissoring action in the legs, like right heel and left knee are squeezing toward one another. Notice how that transfers right up into the low belly. You might even feel some lengthening in the spine as you look forward. One more deep breath here. And then on exhale, we'll transition to Ardha Hanumanasana. So just shift the hips back, lengthening your right leg out in front of you. If you're using the blocks, you can keep the hands on the blocks and either toe stays pointed or flex the foot. Flexing the foot will give you a little deeper stretch in the lower part of the leg. Now we're going to keep active here as well. So still grounding down through the back shin. And then the right foot is pushing down, isometrically dragging right heel back and intensifying, maybe deepening that stretch in the back of the thigh. One more breath here. Let's inhale. Shift forward, rebending the right knee. Take the right leg back. If you're using blocks, set them out of the way and return to either puppy dog pose or downward facing dog. And if you're in downward facing dog, the arms are extending. We're rooting down through the hands, especially through the base of the fingers. The tailbone is high. Heart is reaching back toward the thighs while the heels reach toward the earth. One more breath. Inhale. Knees come to the floor. And now left foot steps forward. Take time to find that proper positioning so the left foot comes forward enough that the stretch you're feeling is in the front of the right hip. And then we find ground, pressing left foot down, pressing right shin down. Got that scissoring action, so the left heel and the right knee are squeezing toward one another. One more breath. And on exhale, hips shift back, lengthening the left leg out, finding a nice stretch to the back of the leg. Remember, left toes can be pointed or you can flex that foot. Change my thoughts. I change my world. It's profound, very profound if you think of it, right? You have control. It's all up here. It's a mindset. Don't let other people get into your thoughts. And watch the thoughts that you have. Keep them positive. Inhale, rebend the knee. Move the blocks out of the way if you're using them. Take the left leg, step it back. And return to downward facing dog, hips up and back. And look forward between the hands. And just slowly walk your feet forward toward the hands to Uttanasana or forward bend at the top of the mat. Let's take Ardha Uttanasana or half lift. Hands on the shins. You can keep them on the floor as well. Lift yourself up until it feels like in your body you've taken all the rounding out of your spine. And then exhale, rebend, forward fold. And the next inhale is going to bring us all the way up. Find that halfway point and then keep going, inhaling all the way up, root to rise, pressing into the feet to lift high, reach the arms up overhead. And we'll take a lateral bend here. Let's take the right hand, catch the left wrist, and on exhale, lateral bend over to your right. So we're stretching the left side. Inhale, back up tall, switch the hands. Left will grab the right wrist, lengthen, and then up and over. Great stretch to the right side. And I love a yoga practice where we hold the postures a bit longer, just really allowing us that opportunity to settle in, check out what's going in the body, and to make corrections, to deepen, to soften. Inhale all the way up, and let's lower the arms down. Let's take the hands. Got options here. I'm just going to start with the hands at the low back, fingertips pointing down, and then squeeze the elbows together on the back, opening the chest. Good, shoulders are down. This takes us into a little baby back bend. Always supporting that with core support. So the navel is drawing back to the spine, up to the ribs. Good, either stay here or you might interlace the hands if that's available behind the back, lengthening the knuckles toward the floor while we open the chest. Good. Take one more breath here. And then release the arms from behind. Let's take tree pose while we're standing. Find your feet, look down, pressing the feet down. Get really grounded, beginning in Tadasana, right? The more you press the feet in, the more lift, lengthen that we get through the spine. And I like to heel toe the feet a little closer together. And we'll start with Vrikshasana or tree pose on the right foot. So bend your left knee and then open the left hip out to the side.
Position 1, you just rest the heel against the ankle with the toes firmly planted, still pressing the feet down, the 2 feet down, and then squeezing them together at the same time. Now, an option here, you might choose to lift the left foot up to the inside of the calf. It's either going to be above or below the knee, so you can lift it up higher if that's your preference. You just pause here and breathe. Pressing right foot down, right hip is moving in and up. Maybe your tree grows branches. Let's stay for a couple breaths more here. And we'll slowly step out, shake that standing leg out, and return to Tadasana, 2 feet to the floor. Left foot presses down firmly, staying in mountain pose on the left side. Bend the right knee. Find the position for the right leg that works for you, whether you keep the toes on the ground or you lift. Either way, the 2 legs are energetically squeezing toward one another. Keep watching the thoughts as they come. Keep them positive today. Be supportive of yourself. Be kind. You're the only one of you there is. 2 breaths more. Slowly, as you're ready, stepping out, shake that standing leg. Yeah. All right. Let's take a half sun salutation, a couple rounds of that. So you'll come up to the top of the mat, finding Tadasana, mountain pose. We'll take an inhale, sweep the 2 arms up overhead. And as you exhale, Uttanasana, forward bend, keeping a little bend in those knees as you hinge forward at the hip, coming all the way down. Let's inhale, half lift, look forward, lengthen. Exhale, refold. And then inhale, reverse, look forward, root down into the feet, bring yourself all the way up. Then lower the arms down. And let's do 2 more rounds just like that. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, half lift. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, look forward. Bring yourself all the way up. Maybe even going into that little bit of a back bend. Don't forget to support with the core. And release the arms down. Once more, inhale, rise high. Maybe a little back bend. Exhale, forward bend all the way down. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale brings us all the way up, root to rise. Maybe the tiniest of back bend. And exhale, lower all the way down. Good. Release the arms down. Take a wide stance on your mat. Stepping out wide. It's turning toward the long edge of your mat. Bring your feet so they are parallel to begin with. We'll take Trikonasana and then Virabhadrasana. So triangle pose to warrior 2. We'll start on the right side by picking up your left heel and turn it back. I know that's always a little awkward at first, and then turn your right toes to the right. And now in Trikonasana, we allow the right hip to sink down, sending the torso to the right. Right arm will extend parallel to the floor to begin with. And then keep reaching, keeping the right side waist long and dropping right fingertips down. You can take those fingertips to the shin, or if you've got your block, really great tool is to take that block just outside the ankle or the shin and rest the fingertips there. The left hand options on the hip, you can do a half bind behind the low back, or more traditional, extend left fingertips up to the sky. So the arms are stretching out wide. Good. Right fingertips are reaching to the earth while the left fingertips are lifting you up. Good. 2 more breaths. Good. Look down toward your right foot, soft bend in the right knee, and pull yourself all the way upright. Now we'll go into warrior 2. So in warrior 2, we don't want that right hip dropping down anymore. Bring your hips to neutral first, keeping back leg anchored. Now bend your right knee just until the knee is about over the ankle. And then we stretch the arms back out wide once more, arms parallel to the floor, and we're gazing out past right fingertips. Nice, easy, gentle flow, this practice. Last breath here. Now we'll lower the arms down, straighten the front leg, turn your feet back to parallel. If you use the block for triangle pose, go ahead and place it down by the left foot, and we'll set up for the left side. Your right heel will turn back and your left toes turn to the left. Triangle poses first. So we allow the left hip to drop down, right? Starting to send our torso to the left, then extend the left arm parallel to the floor. Keep reaching, reaching, reaching. Keep this left side of the waist long, and then drop the fingertips down. Remember, they might graze the shin, or maybe you grab that block and place fingertips on the block. Find proper placement for your right hand, whether it's the hip, the behind the back half bind, or we extend the arm up to the sky. And your gaze could change as well, right? We could look down to the floor. You could have your gaze forward to the horizon, or you might look up to right fingertips. Let's stay for 2 more breaths here. And please look down toward the left foot, soft bend in the left knee, and bring yourself all the way upright. And then we go to warrior 2, bring the hips to neutral first, then bending the left knee. Watch where that knee is tracking. We want the knee tracking down the center of the foot. And then find placement for your arms, extending the arms out, opposite directions, gazing out past left fingertips. Change my thoughts. I change my world. 1 breath more here. Lower the arms down, straighten the 2 legs, turn your feet to parallel, either step or hop your feet together, shake them out. We'll come on down onto our mats now, and we'll take pigeon pose. So you choose the variation of pigeon that works for your body. You can come recline down on your back and just simply cross right ankle over the left knee. I'll be taking the more upright variation today, but always remember, you do you, okay? We're taking the right side for pigeon. So if you're in this forward facing variation, the right knee is forward. If you're reclined on your back, it's the right ankle over the left knee. And we'll be here again for about 5 breaths.
2 more breaths, please. And then we'll switch to the other side. If you're on your back, you can stay right there and then just cross left ankle over the right knee. If you're forward facing, you might wish to take a really brief downward facing dog to bring the left knee forward and the right leg back. 5 breaths here. We'll slowly start to exit. If you're reclined onto your back, bring yourself up to sit as I show you what our next posture is. We'll be using the blocks for this. If you don't have yoga blocks, I'll show you what a variation is, but let me first show what we'll do if you have blocks. Take the 2 blocks, bring them toward the top of your mat. I like to take them at a little bit of an angle rather than squared off. And we'll be laying down right on top of the blocks. Where the blocks will go is right here, kind of in this space between where the collarbone and the top of the arm bone sit. And it will allow our chest to kind of drop down between them, all right? If you don't have blocks, you could take child's pose and just use a cushion or something, right? We'd be in child's pose. So showing with a blanket, I could just roll this up firmly. And then taking child's pose, allow the elbows to come onto the support. And it might look something like this. The stretch will be a little bit different, all right? So it's just use what you have around you. So coming back to me with the blocks, placing the blocks at a bit of an angle, and just slowly lowering myself down, making little adjustments here so that my chest is suspended between these 2 blocks. And the arms will extend out to the side. Let your forehead come down to the floor. Just taking a few deep breaths here. Just allowing this lovely passive stretch across the top of the chest, the front of the shoulders. This is a favorite of mine after a long day of maybe sitting at the computer or just doing anything where your arms are out in front of you and your focus is there. And 1 more breath, please. Hands to the floor. Press yourself up off of whatever support you have. Let's go the other direction now. Another beautiful chest opener. And I'll use my blocks again, placing the blocks now parallel to one another. I usually start with a distance of like the distance between the tip of my thumb and the tip of my pinky finger is a good start. And we'll take Supta Baddha Konasana or reclined bound angle, resting the upper body on the support. Now, again, if you don't have the blocks, you could do the same thing by taking your blanket or cushion and rolling it up, placing that here, and
minus the blocks, of course, and just lowering the upper body down on top of it. If, like me, you have the blocks, you'll just lower yourself back. So as you come onto the support, the very front edge of this block, you can see, is going to land right about at the base of my shoulder blades. So when I recline back, my shoulder blades flatten out against the block. And the other block is for the head. Bottoms of the feet come together and the knees open wide. Breathe deeply here. Gentle, easy. A lot of self-care in our practice today. Well, actually, I think always our practice is a form of self-care, right? Take one more deep breath here. I know I could just luxuriate here. And of course, if you have the time in your day, you can pause this recording and stay as long as you wish. But I'll lift the knees up, roll to one side or the other, use the arms, press myself up. Taking the blocks with, or at least one block, as we come onto our backs, all the way down onto the mat. So we use this block now for a supported bridge pose. So 2 feet to the floor, heels under the knees, and you'll lift the hips up, taking this block now and sliding it underneath the sacrum, right? So this is above the tailbone, but below the vertebrae. So once the hips come down, it should be nice and comfortable and feel supported for you today. Feel free to use any height of the block that works for you. You might start with the lowest height, see how that feels. It just provides this really lovely decompression to the lumbar spine. And we'll also get a passive stretch to the front of the hips by taking your right leg and stretching your right leg forward, keeping the heel on the ground. Right? Nice passive stretch to the front of the hip, those hip flexors. Be mindful of any discomfort in the low back. If there's any discomfort there, then you just keep the 2 feet on the floor with the knees bent. And let's bring the right foot back to the floor. Stretch the left leg long. Left leg will go out. See how that feels on that side. If it was comfortable on both sides, let's try both legs at the same time, keeping your left leg extending. Take your right one out as well. And find a placement of the arms that feels appropriate to you. I love to take the arms overhead here. It's just this really wonderful whole front body opening, gentle supported back bend. Two more breaths here. The legs are still extended. One at a time, bend the knees, let the feet find the earth. We'll take one more variation while we're here. One of my favorites. It's a It's kind of a legs up the wall cheat or a hack. Keeping the hips supported. Now take one leg, extend it up toward the ceiling, and then take the other leg and extend it up toward the ceiling. A variation of legs up the wall, Viparita Karani, except without the wall. You might also hear someone call this a supported shoulder stand. Either way, it's a really lovely continued decompression of the spine, as well as a great release of the legs. Two more breaths, please. And then bending the knees. One at a time, the feet find the earth. Pressing into the feet, lift the hips off of the block, slide that block out to the side, and lower the hips all the way down. Let's pause for a moment, just allowing your spine to return to neutral. And then we'll close with a neutralizing twist. Well, I find them neutralizing because we're going to go both ways, but let's hug the knees into your chest. And then keep the knees lifted. Drop both knees over to your right. So the left hip, the left thigh are on top. And stretch the arms out like a T, or bending the elbows like a cactus. And by keeping the thighs stacked, the knees stacked, and keeping those hips above, or the knees above the hips, right? So they're kind of angled more toward the shoulder. We stay really neutral with the low back and the hips. It's especially helpful if the low back feels funky today, or if it feels that way when you take a twist. Couple more breaths here. Slowly inhale and untwist. The knees come back to center. You might rock a little side to side. And then as you're ready, drop those two knees to the left. Stretching the arms out. One more deep breath here. And then we'll inhale, untwist. Move back onto your back. And find your Shavasana. Extend the legs long, or feel free to keep the feet to the floor. Allow the knees to tent toward one another. Arms by your sides with the palms up. Just settling in, allowing both body and mind to absorb the practice. Just lay on your back and let stuff go. and then keep letting stuff go. That is Shavasana. Letting go of the self-criticism, the self-judgment. And replacing that with positivity. I am enough. And you are welcome to stay in Shavasana as long as you wish today. Or you may slowly roll to one side or the other and bring yourself up to sit. As you come up to sit, we'll join the hands in Anjali Mudra, palm against palm, bowing chin to your chest. Just taking a moment, always closing with a little gratitude. Gratitude to yourself for taking this time for you today. And I thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share a yoga practice with you today. Namaste.